put that up in the group. Okay, so welcome, ladies. Thank you so much for joining the Priestess Within Sisterhood. We do the new moon ceremonies and full moon ceremonies every month. And I just want to say I really do appreciate the donations today. That was really lovely to see those, and I appreciate that. We've been doing these for about a year, ever since COVID hit, and it's been a great resource for all the ladies and for this group. So first I wanted to start off today. One of the sisters in our group, her mother died, and she posted in the group this morning, and I thought it would be really beautiful to begin by honoring her and honoring our sister. And that way we offer prayers of love and guidance to her, and then we'll get started with our ceremonial practice today. So if you'll all just close your eyes, and if you did bring a candle, I had written on the wall, if anybody read it, to just light a candle for her. Her name is Mary Kim. And so I'm going to put a candle for Mary Kim on the altar. If you all can do the same, and if you don't have that, that's okay. We'll close our eyes and take a moment of breath, just to tune in and to tap into our own field of energy, to get grounded, to get centered. And under the light of the new moon in Taurus, this Taurus is very much in this time about recharging and coming into a place of grounding. And after a very, very powerful 555 portal, which we'll talk about in a moment, it's an opportunity to go kind of deep within yourself. And so what a beautiful way to honor Mary Kim today, to go deep within the womb of our own Great Mother Creator, and to sit in that space of genuine, unconditional love, and to offer Mary Kim the best transition that we could imagine for her to move into that place of the Divine Mother's arms. And sending so much love to Laura Kim, her daughter. On the heels of Mother's Day, I would imagine this is a very grief-ridden time, a lot of sadness through this process. Her mother died of lung cancer. But we wish Laura so much love to her tender heart today, softening, beauty, magic. To her whole family, we send so much love, and so much tenderness. And calling to all of our guides and angels, all the beloved ascended ones, the ascended masters of the priestess lineage of Sophia Dragon Tribe, Hathor, Isis, Green Tara, especially today Kuan Yin and Mother Mary for unconditional love and compassion. We call to Mary Magdalene and Christ consciousness, Yeshua's energy, White Buffalo Calf Woman, to the sacred pipe, the sacred offering today for her family, for everyone that she touched, Mary. Thank you, Mary, for your life, for all the wisdom that you imparted, I am sure, in this lifetime, and for all the inner soul work that you've done on this planet. We're so grateful for you. Thank you so much. And if anyone would like to send prayers of their own for their own ancestors and wisdom keepers in their lives that have passed at this time, this might be a nice time to do that for yourselves as well. You could always say their names out loud. You're muted, so. Thank you, sisters, for showing up for yourselves. Thank you for showing up for Laura and for Mary. Thank you for showing up to work on some things today under this new moon portal in Taurus. Beautiful. So we'll say Aho or Amen or whatever closing you prefer to honor that sacred prayer. And feel free to keep your eyes closed if you'd like. I'm just letting you know that there's been a lot of energy, and some of you have said this, and a lot of clients have said the same thing. And in my life, I've also felt this, a lot of shifting, a lot of transformational energy that came through that 555 portal. And it's really this time, as we know, of great shakeup and great transformation. And oftentimes, with great transformation comes a lot of challenge. And what I've witnessed and observed over the last, let's say, week or two in many, many people is almost like a resurgence of deep fear. And it's okay if that's not what you experienced, but I've heard this from a lot of people. As we're working in this eclipse season that we're about to have, it's like a full year since all of the pandemic hit. And there's almost like a cycle that we're going through to root out even deeper some of those narratives that sit within our bodies, that rest within our bodies, either energetically, emotionally, physically, or even mentally. And so it's a little bit of a review time. And this Taurus season is an opportunity to go into that reset. And as I've posted, and I read Forever Conscious, Tanaz is my resource for a lot of this information. She was talking about Black Lilith, and the Black Lilith energy is the raw, deep feminine energy. It's the energy that we want to go into, the darkness that we wish to go into, in order to plant seeds, to plant new seeds of awareness. Oftentimes, though, when we're going into that kind of stickiness, that darkness, there's things there that still might be blocking us, whether it's limiting beliefs, blocked energy, or old narratives, toxic energy, things that we just haven't completely worked through that may sit deep in our bodies. And so as I thought about that today, I wanted to do a meditation and a clearing exercise. It's a coaching prompt, but also meditation to name whatever those things are, those deeply rooted, seated, limiting beliefs, core wounds, if you want to call it that, that are still in the system, that are blocking us from our power, that are blocking us from our life that we get to claim, that are blocking our sovereignty. You know, freedom is a huge one right now in the collective, blocking, you know, our highest power, our highest truth. So that's what I'd like to work on today. And yeah, open up the microphone for a moment if anybody has any comments or questions about that, or anything to say, because I just want to make sure that I'm not always the talking head. If there's any intention that you have based on what I just said that you'd like to just voice, if anything. So open up your microphone if you want. If you want.
Hi, I'm Julie. What's come to me like huge shift. My intention is to set boundaries and to love myself abundantly. So, working on boundary setting, safety shield around me, and holding my love and my power.
Fantastic. Awesome. Thank you so much. Boundaries is a big one right now. I hear that a lot too. So thank you for offering that into the circle.
Hi, Jessica here.
Hi, Jessica.
Thank you for opening it up. So I've definitely been feeling what you're saying about like resurgence of deep fear, and I've been feeling really unstable in my body and really, really anxious. I have some decisions to make, some big decisions to make coming up, and so I feel like I just want to access my intuition. It's like I'm having such a hard time accessing that because of all like the anxiety is clouding my um, judgment or just my deep inner knowing of what to do. So I just want to see how I can access that inner knowing of what decision to make.
Mm, thank you. That's so wise. Thank you so much. Yeah, and what I hear from both of you in some way is really safety, right? Like, how do I feel safe inside my body? Because when I feel safe, then I feel available, right, for all possibilities, but mainly to be in my intuition, to be in the darkness, but yet feel secure and stable within it, you know. Yeah, that's really great. Thank you so much for saying that. For me, it was also it's safety. A lot of things came up around safety for me, feeling unsafe, and then needing to create proper healthy boundaries so that I could be in my creative power and in my own reclamation of my own freedom of my body and other things. So yeah, and this is really up in the whole collective, isn't it? I mean, it's just a symbol of what we've been dealing with for the whole year plus, you know. So thank you, and you can always write in the chat box too. So that's wonderful. Thank you for offering that. So to stick with time, because I can talk, I wrote a little kind of outline here of what I wanted to do. So, yeah, so the first part of this that we're going to create is an opportunity to really observe what energy or what block, whether it's mental or emotional, is in our bodies, and then see if we can link that to the root of what that is and allow whatever emotion is going to show up and accept it. A lot of times we're not accepting truly what our emotions are, or we suppress them, right? Or it's not convenient, or whatever the story is about our emotions. And just allow ourselves to be willing to feel. So much about the raw feminine energy is about feeling and allowing ourselves to feel in a safe space. So I hope that for you today. And then we'll ask ourselves, are we really willing to let this go under the new moon and then create an opportunity, whether it's an affirmation, a statement, but something that's going to anchor in what we'd actually like to see happening, or what we'd actually like to experience. So, what I'll do is I'll bring us into a small meditation, and then I'm going to give you some prompts and you can write them down. So, it's more like an active meditation, if you will. So, have a journal nearby, okay? And close your eyes. Can you all hear me okay? Yeah? Okay. So, just closing your eyes for now, and we'll get into a grounded space. We'll turn on some bowls or play my own bowl. Actually, I'll just play my own bowl. Just inviting in first our breath, and wherever you are, inviting in your body to feel supported by the floor or your couch, or I see some of us are even on our beds. That's all great. Something that connects you with the earth or something solid. And then for now, just placing your hands on your heart. And as you inhale deeply, imagine that breath going through the sinuses down to the feet or to your sit bones if you're sitting. Inhale through the nose, all the way down to the floor, and into the sit bones, into the earth. And let's imagine a grounding cord, a cord that connects us to the star of Mother Gaia, the star of Sophia consciousness. And that dense red energy And for some of us who've been feeling fear, anxiety, overwhelm, maybe trying to jump out of our bodies, which might be typical with trauma response, doing the opposite, really pulling your awareness into your body, into your feet, into the redness, into the depths, into the darkness. Yet letting that darkness be the darkness of the Great Mother. Let me turn that off. Of the Great Mother Sophia. The darkness of the womb being the darkness of creation. So nothing to be feared, but to be really honored as a sacred space. So with each inhale, expanding your awareness down deep into your body, deep into the womb of the Great Mother. And each exhale, surrendering tension from your body. Surrendering any tension. Allowing ourselves to feel calm, centered, and peaceful. I'm going to count from 10 to 1. And you can imagine a staircase, if you will, so that we can deepen and soften together. Moving towards a place of peace, rest, and safety within our own bodies. Everybody has a peaceful, safe place inside of themselves. Starting with 10, you might imagine yourself at the top of the staircase, knowing that you're going to a beautiful place, the place of creation, the womb of the Great Mother. 9, just taking that simple step, feeling held, loved, and supported. 8, going even further down into the seed of awareness, the fertile soil of creation. 7, just like that, breathing deeply, softening, creating tenderness in your body. 6, going that next step into your own peaceful, sacred space. 5, just a little bit deeper, taking your time, feeling stable and secure. 4, finding that love is so much more present for yourself, within yourself, and connecting to the universe and the cosmos. 4, just like that, deeply breathing, inhaling and exhaling, letting go of resistance. 3, as you make your way toward the end of the stairs. 2, just one more step after this, feeling that peaceful place inside of yourself. 1. And on the next step, you will step onto the ground. So now stepping onto the ground and looking down at your feet and just noticing your feet. And noticing what the ground might look like. Now in a humble place of nature, whether you see grass or forests or beach and an ocean, a river, a creek, wherever you are. Taking in all the colors, all the sounds, the birds, the bees, what have you. And noticing the skin on your body and anything that touches it. Maybe it's the sun or a cool breeze. And getting to this safe space that's inside of you. You get to create it. You get to inhabit this place. And just being here, being here. It's this place of safety that we get to access what's deeper in our bodies, what's deeper emotionally in our bodies. So now that you're in this safe space, I'm going to ask you a question, and I'd love for you to write this down when you're ready. What in your body do you have resistance around? Maybe it's money, maybe it's success, maybe it's a relationship. There's a sentence I'd like you to write. So grab your journal and write this down. The reason that I can't have what I want is. The reason that I can't have what I want is. So now I'd like you to root out some of the phrases that might come to you. So I might say something like, the reason I can't have this is I'm not smart enough, or the reason I can't have this is I'm not loved. So allowing yourself to really feel what's deeply embedded in your system now that you're relaxed. What old narratives, images, memories arise. And allow yourself to feel what that is, what emotion is tied to it. If I were not smart enough, I'd feel really sad about that. And then I would just let myself feel sad. And so once again, the reason that I can't have what I want is the emotion that's associated with it and the old story. After you've written that down, I'll have you tear the sheet up. And what we'll do is see that thing dissolving, and simultaneously, if you have sage or if you have oils or if you even have a little water, probably could have told you that in the beginning, you can anoint yourself. Imagine just anointing yourself with something that feels positive, like rose oil, or sage would be a clearing substance, or just something that you can see yourself purging and dissolving this story. And then I'm going to have us do a little bit of breath to move this through the body. There's many practices we could do, shaking practices. I really love breath of fire. If you are pregnant or you have a reason you cannot do breath of fire, then I would just do a shaking practice where you shake your whole body and you work that story through your body. Okay, so Kapalabhati, breath of fire. We're going to raise our arms up. Our hands will be all fingers to palms, thumbs at a 45-degree angle. Your arms will come up. If you've never done this before, it's like fogging a mirror, but your mouth is closed. Okay, so those of you who are shaking, just close your eyes and imagine that story, and you're going to shake your body until you imagine that story dissolving and that energy and emotion of sadness or whatever came up dissolving all the way down to your feet. So you can do that standing up or you can do that sitting down. Those of us doing breath of fire will raise our arms up. I'm going to add some music. We'll take an inhale and then an exhale. And then go ahead and inhale, breath of fire. Good, take a deep breath in. Pull up the sex organs, belly lifts, chin tucks, hold the breath in suspension. And then exhale, release everything out. Good. Relax your breathing. Just seeing if we can let that go. I'm going to do one more round of breath of fire. And we'll make it a 3 minutes total. So it's about 1.5 minutes. Take a nice inhale, reach the arms up. Take an exhale. And then inhale deeply. Exhale, pulse. Keep going. About 1/2 minute left. Just imagine all that energy going down to your root. We're almost there. Inhale. Bring your arms to touch. Root lock. Belly lifts. Chin in. Hold. Suspend. Open the mouth, lift the chin, exhale. Letting all the breath go. If you were shaking, releasing the shaking, and just seeing those things dissolving for a moment. Close your eyes, take a deep breath in. Exhale, going down into the root of your body and resting there in the root. Okay. So now I'd love for you to write a different statement. Instead of the reason I can't have this thing, the reason I can have what I want is. The reason I can have what I want is. And so this might be a positive affirmation for a moment, and then we're going to meditate on it. Okay. Just write the phrase. The reason I can have what I want is. The most powerful way that we can really change the world we live in is to change our belief system, right? To change our attitude towards life and then act in accordance to that. So have that positive affirmation in front of you. It could be a goal. For some of us, we like to set goals. It could be an experience you'd like to have. You might be writing down aspects of yourself that you know you are. So let's imagine this thing that we want to have as a goal. Okay, and what we're going to do is meditate on this, and we'll create a picture of it. And if you know about manifestation, manifestation is intention and action. And it starts really by feeling the entire experience with all of your senses, right? So our imaginative capacity is the spark of creation. So we'll meditate on this specific thing from that spark of creation, from our imagination, and begin to feel it with all of our senses. And that way we start to solidify, we start to bring it into matter, into form. Okay? All right, so let's close our eyes once again. And as we close our eyes, taking a deep breath again down into the root of our body, down into that sacred creative energy. I'll bring us again into a place of relaxation. When we're relaxed, we're not tense, so we release resistance. And that's really key for our imagination. We're calling in this goal. We're calling in this particular, under the new moon in Taurus, this opportunity to recharge and reset. We're going into the chrysalis, if you will, of transformation. Down deep into your sacred womb space this time. As you relax here, as you inhale, I'd like you to breathe now into the sacred heart of your womb, into the raw feminine energy, the darkness. And as we know, with great transformation and change, that the darkness usually falls before the light. And although darkness can feel sometimes very intimidating, it's where the light sparks from, the light of creation. And so we may need to sit within the darkness, we might need to sit within that resistance, that first statement. Sit within the emotional energy that might be stuck in order to move it through. And so imagine you're in that womb space, and maybe it's a cocoon, like the caterpillar that retreats to the darkness in order to become the butterfly. We retreat into that dark, feminine, intuitive womb space to listen to the sparks of our own creation. So this is an opportunity to rebirth, to call in, to retreat, recharge, and create. Imagine that beautiful space, the source of worlds, the source of light. And imagine that you have so much power that you can actually, on the quantum field, create and architect this goal from that space of raw intuition and power. Imagine, if you will, the goal that you had set. Imagine that you are the creator of worlds, the source of all things. And that heart's desire just came to you. You heard it whispered in the ethers. And now you'll create it from the power of your own imagination. Begin to create colors, textures, sounds, using all of your senses, the eyes, the ears, begin to feel this goal. Begin to create it, to bring the formless into form. From the holy feminine space of your own womb, creating this with love, intention, freedom, power. And you're bringing this thing into form with your peace. Holding it with positivity. Send this particular thing, goal, positive energy. See it creating. And now, in your experience, being with it as if it's already done. It's already done. Trusting that your divine wisdom and your divine intuition is that powerful that the grace and the ease is with you. Welcoming the energy that's all around you to create. And just know that you're being supported on all levels in this creation. Deep inhales, deep exhales. Just telling yourself that you are safe and you can trust yourself, you can trust your higher wisdom. And then I'll have you write down from this space what you brought into your being, what you brought in through that experience of that quick meditation. What is it that you're creating? What did you see? How did it feel? That's part of this exercise, is really understanding how it felt. And also writing down if you did believe it or if you didn't believe it. Right? Sometimes we actually believe what we're creating, and sometimes other wounding stories come up that say, well, I don't know if I really believe it or not. Right? And so just to write those down as well. And then I would love to see if anyone would like to share what their experience was with that. It's a mini kind of creative visualization exercise. And if you're still writing, that makes sense. All right. If you'd like, you can also use the chat box. So if you'd like to say anything or let me know how that experience was, you can certainly use that as well. Okay.
So, what does it mean if you don't believe it?
Yeah, if you don't believe it, then I would say there's definitely a part of you that's still holding on to something in the past, whether it's an old emotion or something that it was an old narrative that's still there, right? So that particular thing would need acknowledgement and processing for that old emotion to really be brought through the body. And I mean, there's so many different types of processes we could do to do that. But that's what's holding you back, right? So the reason why things don't get manifested is because of that. We don't really truly believe it. And until we're really willing to let go of the other story, this new one, can't really be in its place yet. And oftentimes with coaching, I'll have people create a story in tandem with the old narrative. So if it's, let's say, money's a good example, like um, I want to make more money, let's say, is the new story. Like, I'm going to make six figures this year. And the old story is like, but I can only make $30,000 a year. So you can create, the way that our mind works is you can't just kind of create a new story and jump to it, because there's something within us that needs to believe that story. And oftentimes there's fear that we're stepping through in order to create that thing. And so you can't just kind of drop somebody off the cliff and say, okay, you're going to make $60,000 more this year or $100,000 more this year, because they don't believe it, right? So you kind of stair step and go incrementally towards that new story. So right now you don't believe it. So right now, what small step, let's say, could you take to surrender that old belief that exists? And I don't know what your two stories are, but does that make sense? So they're running in parallel. What next step could I take from the old belief in order to get closer to this one? So it might be just a willingness piece or
How
something
do
we
you
need to forgive.
know
Yeah.
what steps?
I'm sorry.
How do you know what steps?
How do we know what steps?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So you were saying today that you wanted to start to trust your intuition. So this is where I would kind of put it back in your court and really go into the listening as to what the block is. And it could be something like energy work, as an example, right? Sometimes I'll do with clients like energy extractions. Sometimes it could be a journey. Sometimes it's a meditation. Maybe it's a prayer to release emotional energy. So if you tune in to yourself and ask that question to your own womb, what's the best, next best step? That's a tongue twister. Next best step. Listen and see what your womb says. There's a practice that I love that's called womb dancing, where you put on some music and you put your hands on your womb and you dance with the music really slowly, and then you wait until the beat kind of drops away, and your womb is actually what's leading the beat. And that's when you know you're synchronizing with your own rhythm. And that's where we want to tap in. We want to tap into our own rhythm, right? Like our own higher self and the wisdom of our higher self and our body to let us know. And you can ask, what's in the way? Or what is the next best action step? And often from that place arises, like I said, that's like the womb of creation. For you, a unique step. I mean, I could give you an answer. I could say, well, you got to do some healing work and let's do Reiki and and maybe try that out and see what arises, and then let me know, and then I'm happy to help pull whatever story through, with guidance, of course, and mentorship if that's something that you need.
But do you think this womb work, like you're saying, would you still be able to access it if you have sacral chakra blockages? Like, let's say all my issues tend to be in the sacral chakra. Would I access that womb stuff? Because that tends to be.
Yeah, you'd probably need assistance, I would say, in the beginning to unblock that a little bit. And I would say Reiki would be really good, or like an energy extraction, and just finding out what's that story that's stuck in the sacral chakra. Typically it's relationship related, or it's mother, father, and their wounding relationship and how you ingested that as a child. There's a couple of different things that you can look at with the womb space. But eventually, yeah, you're going to want to get into that relationship, to trust yourself, to have that dialogue going. So yeah, I would say for sure it sounds like maybe something like an energy extraction, something like that.
Thank you.
Yeah. I got a chat created. This is what was created. My home with people in it for a gathering I host. Oh, for a gathering I host. Being fully accepted. I am safe to be seen and to be me. We are natural, and there is much laughter. I still have fear from current relationship. It is, yes, all of that. There's a whole part of that, right, Julie? That is kind of in the way, right? That's in the way. Yeah. Yeah. So it's similar. It's like, well, there's something in the way. So how do I deal with that? Well, for Julie's been through my program, Unleash the Priestess. I would say this is really like the cord cutting stuff, right? Going back to dissolving some of the energy that is the judgment and the hurt and the safety piece, and really trying to release some of those energetic cords.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be a really powerful process actually for that.
Thank you. And being at this stage, having been through the program, which is super helpful, and it's ongoing, that's why I was like, wow, a real big kawoosh, a huge, we're not alone, but a huge kawoosh happened just Saturday. And I'm kind of, anyway, shell shocked, but processing. And yesterday I was like, whoa, I need to do a cord cutting. And then it's kind of like a double whoa going, oh God, I've done cutting. I'm saying it, I'm so excited, but I know what I need to do, and I know what those cords are, and that I can keep going back to it.
Yeah.
Haven't done it yet, but I'm aware. So it's huge to be aware.
Yeah, the awareness is the key, right? To anything that we're going to shift, any block is the awareness. Right. So first step's awareness and observation. Second step, I believe, is really the emotional component. Like, what is the emotion that's there that's unresolved? And this is where our imagination is really potent, because our imagination, our mind doesn't know the difference between the past and the future. So when we go into places like creative visualization, meditation, linear time goes away. And so we can really work with old narratives and old emotions by going in and imagining things to change, imagining them to dissolve, imagining a different story, and creating literally a new ending. And some people will go, isn't that cheating? No, No way. How's that cheating? Like our imagination created the whole universe. You can't cheat anything. It's just you have that power. You have that capacity. And then you need to believe it. So the belief is more of the integration. It's like, oh, I can change the story. Okay, I can see this thing dissolving. I'll give you an example. So I had a woman come to me recently whose son died, and she was in major grief. And she was like, I don't know how to get over it. I just can't get over it. And I was like, I feel like we could do a breathwork ceremony, because breathwork really puts you into your higher self and oftentimes gives you that experience of Godhead and your higher self. And you really get to experience that. So I would say also to Jessica, breathwork is really good for this too. Like a lying down breathwork process. If you've ever done it, I could give you information. But so she went into, I said, where does the grief reside? And I had an energy extraction is seeing it, actually like creating an image in your mind of where it sits and what it looks like. So she said a black blob all over her body. I mean, it was from her, she felt it from here, like her neck, all the way down around her heart, and it was covering her entire stomach, and it was wrapped around her. That's how she felt it. I said, okay, great. So now you can see it. You've given it a location, a texture. So this is like a Reiki process, energy extraction. And so I said, dialogue with it. I want you to ask it, ask this thing with your imagination what it's here to teach you. And then she gave me an entire answer about what it was saying to her. I said, great. So would you be willing to let it go? And her answer was no. So willingness after observation is also step 2. If you're not willing to let it go, you want to really hold on to the grief because for some reason that felt safe for her, because she didn't want to let her kid go, right? I said, okay, great. So don't do anything. Just rest with it, sit with it. Now, if she said she was willing to let it go, I would encourage her and coach her to dissolve it. But in this case, she said, no, I'm not willing to let it go. I said, okay, then just sit with it, right? Just accept it, the emotion that comes through with it. So we started the breathwork session, and she saw the blob and had this whole experience with it where she just went into full grief, right? Crying, sensations, body release, somatic releasing through the whole body. And then once she surrendered to accepting that that was there, it literally dissolved all the way down to, she said it was like a small little rock size from her entire torso, basically. And she was like, that's interesting. So she said to her higher self, said, why is that still there? And guess who showed up right when she asked that question? Her son. Her son came into the experience and said, Mom, you got to be willing to let that thing go. And she said, but then I'll lose you. So what it did was it started to show her an experience. I'll lose you. I'll never see you again, right? So that's what that seed was that was spreading, right? And he took her on a journey. She went on an entire journey where she saw their lifetimes together. He went like this and showed her hundreds of lifetimes, timelines. She literally saw timelines of them being together in all these different scenarios. And he said to her, he said, Mom, if you release that little black dot, that seed, then you get to have all of this. And she lost it. I mean, this was such a beautiful experience of breathwork. And she let it go and it dissolved. And her main objective, let me tell you, her intention was, I want to have happiness. I want to have joy. That was the parallel story. I want to have joy, but I think I'll be judged for being happy because I lost my son. Who's going to let me feel this? That was her belief system. So she decided to let go of the belief system that in her mind, she could actually have the joy. She could stop the grieving process. It was enough grieving. It had been going on for years. And it was all available to her to have joy. And so you never quite know what is, and this is to Jessica too, because I can't give you a solid answer. I never quite know when I'm working with clients what's going to bring them to that parallel story. A lot of it comes from within you, right? So I would be guiding that process by asking questions like I did with her. What is it? What are you feeling? What does it look like? Do you want to release it? If you don't, accept it, sit with it, then keep asking it. Let your higher wisdom come through that experience and show you how to get to that next step. And if you're lucky enough, like I was, to witness that, I got to witness it in that one experience. And so that was her process, and that was her higher self and her son and her guides and her angels, right? I witnessed her breakthrough in that, and that was amazing. So that was just one session, but right, like I don't know, right? I don't really know. I know how to guide them, you know. Hopefully that makes sense. Does that answer your question a little bit better? Oh, I can't hear somebody. Kimberly.
I'm on.
Oh, did you have something to say, Kimberly?
No, not
Oh,
right.
okay. Oh, okay. Okay. Jessica. Jessica. Let's unmute Jessica. Unmute. Ask to unmute. What's happening here? Let me mute Kimberly. There we go. And now, Jessica, I think you can unmute yourself.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you now. Yeah.
No, I was just going to ask, like, have you experienced that a lot? Not obviously that one woman had the specific scenario, but have you experienced that a lot with other people, that they're able to like figure out what it is that's blocking them, and then you've seen them actually let it go?
Yeah.
Have you followed up to see that like their lives have changed since they've let it go? Like that is.
Yeah, because that's really a lot of it is inner child work. You know, a lot of it is inner child work. A lot of it is processing these things through different methodologies that are available to us. Some people, it's going to be through the body, kinesthetically. Some, it's going to be more emotional through like meditation and guided imagery or imagination, something to that effect. For some, I find mental release can happen through, of course, meditation, but breath work is really powerful for that. So having a lot of different tools, coaching is a great one too, but to help people process, because people will process in different ways. Affirmations can be just as powerful for people, right? Some of these coaching prompts can be powerful for people. So it's really getting to know how you operate and how you feel safe and how you relax and how you become available, you know, how you come alive to the information that's in you, you know. Everybody processes differently, is what I would say. But yeah, absolutely. I've been doing this for over a decade. So I know that these things can change, you know. And it doesn't have to take years. That's what I always say. Definitely doesn't have to take years. We don't want it to have to take years, right? Okay, so I'm going to start to wrap up because I do have clients after this, and our ceremony is usually an hour. Julie, did you have one last thing to say?
It's okay. I'm so fascinated. Thank you for this. I'm really curious about the 555 portal. I was like, oh,
Oh,
wonder.
yeah. Look it up on, it's called foreverconscious.com.
Okay.
She's my
Thank you.
favorite astrologer. She's incredible. And I always post her information in the group when I'm doing the moon ceremonies because that's who I follow. I'm not an astrologer. Huh?
What's your name?
Tanaz. She has a YouTube channel.
Dinaz?
Tanaz. Forever Conscious. I'll write it here. Foreverconscious.com. Tanaz. Yeah, I'm not an astrologer, but you know, I like to do rituals and ceremonies around the moon and really have that ritual of clearing and cleansing and setting new intentions. So now that you've, you know, had that experience of setting new intentions on the full moons, I do a full, and Jessica, maybe this is something that you could come with to the full moon. I do the full breathwork ceremonies. And those are really yummy and powerful. And some of these women have experienced them where we lie down and we do a 45-minute breathwork practice. And I do sound healing with all my instruments, and I give it a theme, and you can experience that for free and have an experience and see if it's something that works for you. It seems to be really powerful, and I know women in this group love it. That's why they keep coming back for that, for those. Yeah, so I'd love to have you, Jessica, maybe experience that. That'd be fun. anyone else have any questions? And then we'll just close it out, and we'll say a prayer to our guides and our angels. Okay. So closing our eyes, settling down into our seat, taking a couple deep breaths into your heart. If you want to have your hands on your heart. And sending our bodies love, sending our bodies safety, sending our bodies awareness, emotional availability. We say thank you to Pachamama, to the earth today, for grounding, for security and stability, for all of our basic needs being met. Thank you for your beauty, for this incredible university that we call Earth. We're so grateful. Thank you so much. And we'll say thank you to all of our lineage, our ancestors. Maybe something came up today for clearing. Thank you to you for bringing us here in this present moment of time. Thank you too to all of our angels, our guides, our beloved beings, all those that support us on our path, both seen and unseen. And we offer ourselves and our higher selves love and wisdom, beauty, grace, ease. And we bring all of that energy into our hearts today, to this beloved sacred heart. May we be blessed. May we feel peace inside. May we create and vision the things that we wish under the new moon in Taurus as we reset and recharge and rebirth through that chrysalis, through the darkness into the light. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's take a deep breath in for Om. Namaste. Namaste. Thank you, everyone, for arriving. And to those ladies who were not here but expressed interest, we put you in this container and we send you lots of love as well. Have a great day. Lots of love. We'll see you soon. Mwah.